All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming this morning to our first Oakbrook Business Network virtual meeting. My name is Michelle Sherritt. I am one of the owners and board members of the group. And I just want to start out by saying thank you for attending this morning. Dave and I have practiced a little bit this morning just to make sure that we've got all the glitches out. So I think we're good to go, right, Dave?
We are ready.
All right. So let me tell you, just if you've never been to one of our meetings, usually they're normally live face to face. We started the Oakbrook Business Group back in 2008 on LinkedIn. And we also started a few other groups. We started the Naperville Business Network, Oakbrook, North Shore, Northwest, and Windy City Business Network. And those are all on LinkedIn. And the Naperville and the Oakbrook group took off like crazy online. And so just January of last year, we decided to take the groups live. So every month we meet for the Oakbrook group. We meet the first Monday of every month in Oakbrook. It's face-to-face. We have guest speakers like Dave that come and talk to us about different topics to help us to grow our businesses. We've had life coaches, we've had business coaches, we've had, authors, we've had attorneys, we've had all kinds of folks come and talk to us, and it's really helped us to grow our businesses big time. We also have networking events that we do monthly as well after work. And we also do quarterly networking events as well. And this is all open to the public as well as our paid members. So since we are all quarantined, we decided to keep the group going and do virtual meetings this month and next month. And also something cool that we're doing this Thursday, and you'll all get a link to it, is a virtual roundtable. It's going to be sort of like a help brainstorm session because what we've noticed is a lot of businesses are struggling. They're trying to figure out, okay, I can't open my front doors, we're quarantined, how do I keep my business going? So we thought that it would be nice Thursday night at 7 o'clock to meet for an hour and do like a roundtable brainstorm session where you tell us about your business and tell us about your pain struggles right now during this time. And I feel that with more heads on a problem, we can definitely figure out a solution and help you out. So we thought that that would be a great idea, a good thing to do. Definitely can be in the form of a happy hour. You can bring a cocktail if you want to the Zoom meeting. I think it'll be fun and it'll be very informational and helpful as well. So you'll all get the link for that. So today's speaker is Dave Lasavio. Did I say that right?
It's Lasavio, and that's close.
Lasavio, okay. Dave graduated from NIU with a bachelor's degree in public speaking and interpersonal communications. He has always been fascinated with connection to his fellow human beings. Dave is a salesperson in the packaging industry. He's a public speaker. He's a mastermind leader and former radio show and podcast host. He's embraced his past and 5 years ago claimed his future. He will share his story, his research, daily habits, and give immediate takeaways that will up-level your business and personal performance. So I really want to welcome Dave for joining us this morning and helping us out during this time. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate that introduction. It's always it always amazes me how my introduction for every event changes like every single time. I guess it just depends on the mood that I am today. So I will throw up here my PowerPoint. Thank you.
Okay.
Can we all see that?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Michelle, and the Oakbrook Business Network. I also want to thank Zoom meetings. They have been wonderful and amazing these last 3 weeks as we've all been inside, so to speak, quarantined. Yeah. And I do want to thank all of you that have taken the time to be on this webinar. Before we begin, let's take a moment to recognize one thing that we're all grateful for today. We can all find something that we're grateful for, especially in these times of reflection. I do trust that you're having an epic day so far, and if you're not, now's the time to begin. In the next 40 minutes, I will be discussing high performance habits, ways to optimize and prioritize your day by creating focus and eliminating distractions. We will create clarity and understanding with your family and coworkers, and we will also share ways to create financial abundance. After today, you will walk out and create a greater connection with family, friends, coworkers, clients, and most importantly, yourself. We will learn to align with your purpose and amplify financial abundance. And lastly, we'll all begin to cultivate a happier and more fulfilling life. We are all on the same team, which is Team Human. Now, more than ever, it's important to realize that we're all doing our best with what we have at this time, always. At the end, we will have some Q&A, and I know you'll be happy. Just a minute about myself, my journey from Windows 98 Dave to Epic Dave 2.0. Thanksgiving weekend, about 5.5 years ago, I made a small shift. My shift was, I decided to stop drinking just for 1 month. Like, hey, I kind of want to be around for the holidays and maybe I'm doing this a little bit too much, whatever. I'm just going to give it a stop until the new year starts. And it's amazing how when you do a small little shift, the big impact that it can make in your life. So even right now, like if you're standing or you're sitting, just like cross your legs differently, or maybe just like shift yourself a little bit differently in your chair and see how it feels, right? Doesn't feel like a big deal. Believe it or not, though, it has a huge impact down the line. And I'm going to show you how. That small shift for me 5 years ago started me on what I call a self-improvement movement. 1% a day, slide edge habits. So this slide here shows on the first line, if you're stagnant every day for 365 days, stagnant is 1 to the 365th power, you stay the same. And actually, if you read a little bit of Napoleon Hill will tell you in his book, Think and Grow Rich, that if you are to stay stagnant, you're actually falling the other way into negativity, because the way that things are set up, unless you're moving forward, you're actually moving back. So back to this slide again. Now, just making a 1% shift every single day to the 366th power adds 37.7%. So it's a pretty amazing what one little 1% shift will do for you during the day. Let's talk a little bit about distractions before we get into our high performance habits. Now more than ever, our distractions are different. Maybe before we were driving in the car, we were commuting to work. Maybe there were distractions at the office. Maybe there are distractions when we went out for lunch. Now, a lot of us are at home. We're working virtually. We're working inside our house. Now, for me, I live alone, so it's a little bit different with respect to my personal space. I have a lot of friends that they live with their families, of course. They have kids. They have dogs. Everybody's home at one time. So let's take a look at some of these distractions here. People. Believe it or not, people can be distraction. We all know some energy vampires in our life, and we all know people that add energy. Do we wish to interact with these people or not? Our cell phone can be a huge distraction. Talking on the phone, texting, looking up maps is one thing, but sometimes we all maybe watch YouTube for a half hour or an hour, play games for a little while, and there's that fine line between distraction and just kind of taking a break in what really does serve us. Drinking and drugging could be binge watching TV. I'm not throwing a stone at drinking and drugging. We all know where our line is and what we're doing in our lives. Social media is another distraction. Sure, we can use it as a positive influence and a way to connect with people. It's also a way to distract ourselves from life. Compulsive working. now that we're at home, do you feel like you have to work all day? And how do you separate when you're at home, work time from break time? We're going to go over that. Shopping. What used to be shopping at the mall and walking around, maybe we're hitting that Amazon app a little bit much right now and ordering a lot online. Television's one. Organizing to your house to the point where it becomes compulsive, right? Eating. We all love to eat. And getting enlightened. That's a very interesting one. As I started on this path of personal development about 5 years ago, there were times where I felt like I would just get into it for a couple days at a time, and you could get lost with getting enlightened. All right, so now that we've discussed a little bit about distractions, let's get on to our main topic here of high performance habits. All right, so our first high performance habit here today is focus on energy. High performers focus on energy. Julian Blank, many years ago, a friend of mine, shared with me the 3 pillars of energy. He said, water, deep breathing, and sleep. So how much water are we drinking every single day? Probably less than you really think that you are. There are apps to regulate the amount of water that you drink. And obviously, if you're working out harder or in the summer, you'll probably drink a little bit more water. I have my water app set at about 100 ounces, and I usually hit between 80 and 100 every day. Sleep. Now more than ever, we have an opportunity to sleep more. And really the recommended is between 7 and 9 hours. There's an awesome podcast on Joe Rogan, a gentleman named Matthew Walker. Check that sleep podcast out. It's about 2 hours. Joe Rogan's podcasts are really long. You'll learn a ton about sleep. And the best thing about sleep is it builds your immunity system. So there's so much in the media right now of what not to do versus what to do. And what we can do while we're in our house, not only to build our energy, but to also build our immune system, is to drink more water, to sleep better, and lastly, deep breathing. Recently, there's an app that I've been using by a guy named Wim Hof. He's the Iceman, and he's amazing in what he's done by taking breathing techniques where you do them every single day. And again, not only does it raise your energy, does it raise your focus, so you could be focused on these habits throughout the day, your work, your family, yourself. It also builds up your immunity system. So number 1, focus on energy. Legends stay focused. I love this. 5 a.m. is the hour when legends are either waking up or going to bed. Morning and evening practice. So we have a little bit more time at home, at least most of us do, because now we're not commuting to and from an office, or if you're in outside sales like me, you're not driving around making sales calls. Or if you're a business owner, you're not necessarily going to the storefront or going to the warehouse every single day. So it is a wonderful, wonderful time to begin a morning and evening practice. And I give credit to this man right here, Hal Elrod. This book right here, The Miracle Morning, breaks down the 6 habits of high performers that they do every single morning. And he puts it in a very simple, easy to follow plan. Hal Elrod has got this crushed. And it's amazing how you begin your day truly is your day. And I don't have a huge morning practice that takes me an hour. I do a simple, I think mine's about a half an hour. So I'll write in my gratitude journal. I'll put down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I'll do my Wim Hof breathing exercises. I'll also do some stretching. And then I will do a 15-minute meditation. And what that does is it really grounds me and allows me to focus on what I'm going to be doing for the day. Success is something you attract by the person you become. So the idea is if you take some time to be in the morning, you have better focus and energy when it's time to do during the day. Being and doing, being and doing. Ground yourself in the morning. Next high performance habit is divide your calendar by minutes. So I have a whiteboard here on the side where what I'll do is I'll look at my week, and I first start by dividing it into hours. So we all have 168 hours in our week. Now, when you start subtracting all the things that you're doing throughout the day and the weeks, so stuff like sleeping, eating, going to church, working out, going shopping, just keep adding playtime with your kids, reading time, all the little things that you're doing throughout the week. You'll be amazed to find how much time out of that 168-hour week that you actually have left over to do what you love to do. It could be something you've been putting off for a while. It could be getting to that stack of paperwork or getting to that accounting project with your business. It could be a lot of things that you've been avoiding because we tend, like me, we tend to avoid the most important things that we have going on in life. It's funny how that happens. So when you are dividing your calendar first by hours, you'll find, believe it or not, that you'll have anywhere from like 15 to 25 hours a week extra to do things that you want to do things that you've been putting off. So what are you going to do with those extra 15 to 25 hours that you have per week? What are we all going to do now that we're not commuting to work? It is such an opportune time, and to remind ourselves to take advantage of this time to start building up our businesses, to start making those connections with people that we love, and to start doing those personal habits that we've been wanting to do but been putting off. Now is the time to do it. So now let's focus on dividing the calendar by minutes. We all know who Elon Musk is. Thank you so much for donating all those free ventilators to the hospitals. Like, Elon Musk is awesome. We appreciate him very much. He divides his calendar by 5-minute increments. Now, that's a little deep, right? It's a little out of control. I have found that for myself, to get a balance, I break a lot of what I do into 15 minutes. So when I meditate, when I read, each of those is 15 minutes. When I go to the gym or I'm exercise, I do 15 times 2 and I do 30 minutes. So I block my calendar out in 15-minute increments. And then while I'm at home, this is really important too, because we're balancing that like work home life, but now we're at home the whole time. So to be able to work for 45 minutes or work for an hour and a half, and then take a 15-minute chunk as a break and go jam on some music, go eat a little bit of food, maybe go do some push-ups, or maybe just walk outside on the balcony or outside in the backyard. Knocking out 15 minutes just to take a little bit of a break. Very helpful throughout your day. Also remember, as we talked about with Elon Musk and the how he breaks up his calendar in his day in 5-minute increments, we have 1,440 minutes every single day. High performers remember these two numbers: 1,440 minutes a day, 168 hours per week. I love this one. So a high performance habit throughout the day is asking yourself questions of clarity. Is calling up this prospect going to serve them and going to serve me in the future? is calling this coworker and discussing this problem, challenge, or opportunity the right time to do it, or should I wait until later? I wonder what I can be doing today that will add value to my clients. I wonder what outrageous customer service looks like. So questions of clarity, I used to do this a lot when I was driving around, and now that I'm not driving around, I will ask that question maybe in the kitchen, maybe in the shower. Things that are mundane or that seem mundane, like washing dishes or taking a shower, sometimes allow a lot of clarity to come into the mind because you're not really thinking about other things and your mind tends to be quiet. So here's a few questions that I took out of a book here, which is called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. This book is epic. I highly recommend to read this. And here's some questions that I took out of that book that I want us all to look at. I call these wonder questions. I wonder what outrageous customer service would look like. We have time to think about that, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder what I can learn today that would benefit everyone. So just think of how you feel when you're asking these questions. They're of such a high energy and such service questions that they can only add value to the world. I wonder how we can get more done in less time. Think about that question there versus, oh, I never have enough time to do anything. Oh man, I never have enough time to do this. And I always run out of time. Instead of saying that, ask yourself in the morning, I wonder how I can get more done in less time. Believe it or not, the answer will show up to you. I wonder how abundance is showing up in my life today.
Dave, just real quick, someone just wants to see the book title again, if you could hold it up again.
Of course.
There you go. Thanks, Dave.
Got it. So these questions of wonder, it's what high performers do. It's when I find myself on a high energy level, I'm definitely asking these questions. And if I find myself in a low energy level, I'm usually not asking these questions. And the idea is to kind of catch yourself when you're riding at that low energy level. So going into wonder questions leads into a really big concept that I learned from Jake Merriman and Ben Skemper from Epic Impact 4 years ago. It's called borrow from your future self. So borrowing from your future self is making a decision today like you would be where you want to be 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, or 1 year from now. Borrow from your future self is making a decision today that a month or 6 months or a year from now, you're going to look back and be proud that you make that decision. It's going to serve you moving forward. And this is really a balance because you want to be present throughout your day. That's part of the morning practice to ground you and to be present. At the same time, you want to check in with yourself so where you're going. So in business, this might look like times have changed now. There's essential and non-essential businesses. What businesses are going to stay afloat and what businesses are not? Let's say you just got a big order from somebody, but you're not sure if that business is going to be essential or if that business is going to be afloat. And what do we say about orders? It's not really an order until the check clears, right? PO means nothing. If the check doesn't clear, it doesn't mean anything. So do you want to take an order now because it's an order and you're not getting that many orders today, but then maybe 2, 3, 4 months from now, not get paid on it? and then you spent your time and energy, and you've got to pay your vendor then for what you bought and sold. So this is borrowing from your future self. It's a very deep concept. I go into that a lot with my private clients and in my mastermind group. One thing I just remembered is part of borrowing from your future self is connecting with the feeling that you're going to get in the future when you have that client, when you've made that sale, when you have lost that 10 pounds, or when you have connected with that child or one of your siblings that you wanted to connect with more. It's the idea of connecting with that feeling in the future and bringing it to the now so it happens. Thank you. Oh, I love this one. Love this one. So another high performance habit is leaning into discomfort. I have been saying a mantra and a practice, an outward affirmation for many, many years now, and it applies right now more than ever. I release certainty, significance, and outcome dependence. I embrace the unknown. It's a little painful listening to that. It's a little painful saying that. Putting it into practice frees up the energy for you to focus on your KPIs, key performance indicators. It allows you to focus on your KPIs throughout the day, and it has amazing, amazing results. So part of leaning into discomfort is embracing delayed gratification. So think of instant gratification and delayed gratification. Usually, not always, but usually instant gratification feels good now and doesn't serve you later. Mm-hmm. Whereas delayed gratification doesn't feel really good right now. In fact, it sucks a lot of times in the beginning, but later on, you reap the benefits. So delayed gratification versus instant gratification. When you have a choice throughout the day, keep that in mind. And that goes back to seeking clarity and asking yourself questions of clarity. Does this serve me or does that serve me? So an interesting about leaning into discomfort. Darren Hardy, who is, he was the publisher of Success Magazine. He's an author. He has a daily video. He says, instead of taking the path of least resistance, take the path of most resistance. Mm-hmm. Think about that one. I love it. Choose growth over comfort. I learned to always take on things I'd never done before. Growth and comfort do not exist. How true is that? We thought this was going to be like a fun webinar today, huh?
I'm having fun.
Yeah, right? I'm having fun too. I love talking about habits. And I do want to remind myself, most importantly, that as I'm sharing these with you and I'm aligned with these ideas and these habits, it's truly because this is the way I have lived my life for the last 5 years. I feel it's real important when you're discussing something with somebody to have tried it out, because we all read books and we all read things and, hey, I heard this was cool and I want to try this out. But until you actually try something for a week or two and see if it works for you, it's kind of tough and inauthentic to go out there and be talking about how good it is, right? So let's get to this next habit. Oh, network equity. I love this one too. So after I made my 1% shift 5 years ago, other shifts started coming up in my life. I began reading books. I began eating differently. I began seeking people in my life that were different than before. And the big shift in that was I was coming from a place of wanting and taking after I made my 1% shift. Like, hey, I'm doing better in my life. How come I'm not getting more friends and more business? And when I made my next shift from there to actually serving and coming from a place of adding value, that's when I focused on my network equity. So your network equity is the account that builds your bank account. And there's a lot of interesting theories behind network equity. You're building your social capital. You're adding value to add value. And there's an interesting story that Ben Skemper shared with me before about Jay Abraham. And they were at a Tony Robbins event, and they were at dinner afterwards with everybody. And somebody asked Jay Abraham, Jay, if you lost everything in your life, what's the one thing you want back? And he almost didn't even pause. And he said, that's easy. I would want my network equity, because as long as I have my network, I can get back anything else that I want. And as long as I'm adding value to my network, then I'll always be able to get a job, and I'll always be able to serve the marketplace. So think about that level right there of energy and that level of language patterns. So with respect to building network equity in business right now, everybody's sending an email, everybody's making a phone call. There's these things called thank you cards, which are really awesome. And you take a pen or a pencil. I did 3 of them yesterday, and I put a stamp on them and I mailed them out. So I've got 3 clients this week who are receiving handwritten thank you cards from me. Think of how they're going to feel when they open up that letter and see that I took the time and I was actually like meant the things that I said in there. So I would question yourself, as I'm questioning myself right now, because we ask questions of clarity and we have more time right now. How can we build our network equity? What can we do for people? And asking somebody how I can help you is good. What's even better is maybe following them on LinkedIn a little bit, following that prospect or client and seeing what they're interested in, and then donating a charity that they're a part of, or maybe signing up for a webinar that they're going to be hosting, or signing up for a weekend immersion that they're going to be doing. So as good as it is to ask somebody what you could do for them, it's even better to figure it out yourself and then just add value with them, only for the reason of adding value. Because why else is there to get up in the morning? You just want to add value to add value. Oh, another one. Love this. So the Sunday planner. Darren Hardy came up with this. And the interesting thing about the Sunday planner is you focus on 4 different quadrants. And 3 of the quadrants are what's important for you to do. And the 4th quadrant is hell. So anything that doesn't fit in the first 3 quadrants of what's important to you goes in the hell quadrant, which means you don't really need to do it. And this comes from the Jim Collins mandate, right? If you have more than 3 priorities, you have no priorities at all. So let's take, for instance, now, so my priorities right now will be my sales career, my health, and my relationships. So anything throughout my week that I'm breaking down, my 168 hours, right, a week, my 1,440 minutes a day, anything that I'm putting 15-minute increments of into my Google Calendar, does it serve my health? Does it serve to build my network? And does it serve my sales career? If it does, great, just keep doing it. If it doesn't, it goes in the hell compartment. It's unnecessary and it's a waste of time. And that's important too, to something to remember now that we're at home, that we have the opportunity to do more of the things that we've been wanting to do.
Mhm.
We also have the time to be more. And there's a balance and a very high probability that when you give yourself time throughout the day to be, you actually get more done. So take the 80-20 rule or 70-30. Breaking out your calendar 70% of the time of doing and 20% of the time being. When you find that time to be, which could be meditate or read or just relaxing or taking a walk and connecting with nature. Cool about all that stuff is it's free. You don't have to pay for it. Having the being slots throughout your day actually gives you more focus, more energy, and more clarity when it comes to the doing. Pretty cool stuff.
Mhm.
How are we doing on time, Michelle?
We are good. It's 10:06.
Okay, cool. I guess I have a watch right here, huh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. So this is a simple habit tracker that I found online. I don't remember where I found it. It's very easy just to Google habit tracker and you can find a lot of them. So take a look at this for a moment. And the top, you have the day. So this month was, the first was Wednesday. So in that first box of day above 1, you'd put a W, right? And then that's the 1st of April. And then along the left side, you're listing your habits. Now, keep in mind, do these habits serve your 3 boxes? Maybe as an entrepreneur, maybe as a startup, maybe as a realtor, maybe as an attorney, you're going to put more focus of your daily habits on connecting with your clients in different ways. So it gives you an opportunity to list all the habits on the left-hand side. And then in these boxes, you just X them off throughout the day. And what I found with this is, if you're not measuring it, you can't improve it. And this not only created clarity, it created simplicity in my life. Because now I didn't have to think about what I didn't have to think about what was important to serve me throughout the day. I was able to check off what was done and then look back on my evening practice, look back at the day and see what I did, what I didn't, and what served me. I do recommend doing this in pencil and eraser, right? We still have those. Because you'll make changes throughout the month. And the idea is we're never looking for perfection. We're only looking for progress. Progress versus perfection. 1% every single day. And remember, this year, we don't have 365 days. We have 366. So you have 1 extra day to be that much better. Simple habit tracker. Okay, and this is a habit poem right here. If we have time, we could go back to that later. Okay, well, today we discussed high performance habits, ways to optimize and prioritize your day. We discussed a little bit about clarity and understanding your family and coworkers. And we discussed ways to create financial abundance in your personal and your business. 5 years ago, I made a 1% shift and I began a self-improvement movement. Imagine what it would feel like to be more connected with your family, your coworkers, and yourself. Think of the impact you'll make by aligning with your purpose and creating more financial abundance. Visualize a more happy and fulfilling life for you and the ones that you love. And most importantly, now more than ever, truly is the opportunity to focus on what's important in our lives. There's a cultural renaissance going on and a big shift. Let's show up for Team Human and make 2020 your best year yet. I'm open for questions, shares, comments, and even if you didn't like something, say something that you didn't like. I love to be challenged.
And you can see the chat box, right, Dave?
I don't see it now.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean I won't.
So if anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat box right now.
Oh.
And then Dave can go ahead and answer those.
So Q&A? Oh no, chat box, got it.
Yeah, just chat. I don't see any questions. Rich had a question about the name of that book, but you held it up. So
Okay.
I don't know if you want to hold it up one more time, if he got that or not. There we go. I don't see any questions. Do you want to go back to the poem? Oh, here we go. Can you send us a copy of your habit tracker template?
Absolutely, Noelle, and thanks for joining us today. I'll send you a copy of that. I don't know if I have your email, I believe. Cool. I recognize some people on here. Mark, thanks for joining us. Rich, thanks for joining us. Rhonda, cool. Sean, thanks for being on there also. Yeah, I'll go back to this habit poem. It's a pretty cool way to close out.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so the habit poem. I am your constant companion. I am your greatest helper or your heaviest burden. I will push you onward or drag you down to failure. I am completely at your command. Half the things you do might as well turn over to me, and I will do them quickly and correctly. I am easily managed. You must be firm with me. Show me exactly how you want something done, and after a few lessons, I'll do it automatically. I am the servant of great people, and alas, of all failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine, though. I work with the precision of a machine, plus the intelligence of a person. You may run me for profit or run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Take me, train me, be firm with me, and I will place the world at your feet. Be easy with me, and I will destroy you. Who am I? I am habit.
Oh, where did you get that from? Did you make that up?
No, I found it somewhere. You all can connect with me at davelosavio.com. I do a monthly mastermind group. It looks like the next one is Saturday, April 18th. That'll be live via Zoom. You could go to davelosavio.com and connect with me there, see some other upcoming events that I have. And I truly am grateful and appreciate you guys giving me your time, which is our most valuable asset. Thank you for giving me your time today.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave. Great comments. Thank you, guys. So this will be recorded, and we'll share the recording link with you probably tomorrow. Dave, you were also going to shoot out an email to everybody who was who registered today. Did you still want to do that?
I would like to.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So we're going to share that with Dave as well, so that he can share with you guys any tips, pointers, and his upcoming events as well. So if you liked everything that you heard today, then you can go ahead and follow him too.
I appreciate that. And I'll always send emails of value.
Yeah.
The one thing that's nice about the MailChimp is if you don't like my email, you just hit unsubscribe and it's done.
Yeah.
I'll never sell you anything on my emails.
Awesome. Great. All right, everyone. So thank you for attending. If there are no other questions, then we'll go ahead and close it out. We do have that Thursday night event this week. So hopefully you guys can make it to that. And then also Thursday morning, we have our Naperville Business Network meeting. And I can send you guys the meeting to that. Tim Pabbage is going to be speaking with us on security, email security, computer security, software security, basically the security of your business. And I think more than ever, now that we're all working from home, it's even more vital that we listen to that and take some pointers from that. So I'll share the link with you guys as well for that. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
And have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Thank you.
Make it a great day.